You know, I think I'm finally gonna get that video done, dude.
Finally, you've been working on it since October.
Listen, I'm a procrastinator, okay?
What was that?
Well, I don't know. What the, should we,
Yeah,
wanna go look at it? I don't know what the fuck.
Guys, the new Cocomelon episode just released. What?
I love Cocomelon! This is Stay Out of the House. At the time of recording this video, this is Puppet Combo's most recent and most ambitious game in their large catalog of retro-style horror games. I love all things horror, and I love Puppet Combo, so naturally I adore this game. I genuinely think that it's one of their best games yet. This game, at least for me, was a very scary experience. It was a struggle to get through, especially at the start when I had absolutely no idea what the hell was going on. It did start to wear off by the end, but when you're playing a horror game constantly like me, that's bound to happen. Don't get me wrong though, at the end of the day, I think that Stay Out of the House is a masterfully crafted horror experience that I think needs more attention. And that's what I hope this video is going to do. I've spent a long time trying to figure out what even this video is. Like, it's not a review, more just me wanting to talk about something that I love. So if that sounds good to you, then great, stick around. Before I talk more about the game, I thought it might be a good idea to talk about Puppet Combo as a whole and give a short overview of them and their games that they've released over the years. I'm not going to go super in depth, but if you're interested in learning more about them, there's a really good video I'll put up on screen and in the card thingy, and you can go check it out if you'd like. Puppet Combo is a game dev studio heavily inspired by 80s VHS style horror, slasher films, and retro low-poly type horror games. Puppet Combo was created by Benedito Kakuza, originally going by the name Pig Farmer Productions, or Games depending on where you look. In 2013, one of the first games by Ben would be released, with that being Babysitter Bloodbath. In this game, you play as a babysitter watching over little Billy, but the night goes horribly wrong. You quickly find out there is a recently escaped murderer stalking and hunting you down. As you play, you must use your wits and whatever else you can to survive the night. If this premise sounds familiar, that's because this was supposedly meant to be a Halloween game, but due to legal reasons was reworked into being what we now know as Babysitter Bloodbath, and just heavily inspired by Halloween. From there, Puppet Combo has released a bunch of other games such as Power Drill Massacre, The Night Ripper, Nun Massacre, The Glass Staircase, Murder House, and much more. From the games that I've just mentioned, two of them stand out from the rest, or at least they do to me, with them being Murder House and Nun Massacre. These two games have been regarded as some of Puppet Combo's best, if not best, then at least some of the most popular games, with Nun Massacre having a 4.7 out of 5 on Puppet Combo's itch.io page, and Murder House having a 10 out of 10 on Steam. Holy shit! These games stand out from the rest not only because of the ratings, but also because they're the only two Puppet Combo games to be released on consoles, with Christmas Massacre hopefully getting a console release in 2023. Murder House is a survival horror game closely inspired by games like Clock Tower and Silent Hill. In this game, you play as Emma, working as an intern at a local news station. You and your team break into an abandoned house trying to get a ghost story for TV, when all of a sudden a maniac in an Easter Bunny suit comes in and terrorizes the entire house. If you've never played a Puppet Combo game and want to, Murder House is a fantastic introduction to them and the style of games that they make. Now on to Nun Massacre. This game is much more closely related to Stay Out of the House because unlike Murder House, Nun Massacre and Stay Out of the House are stealth horror games where pretty much the only option is to run and hide. In this game, you play as Mrs. McDonald. One day you get a letter in the mail notifying you your child is sick and needs your immediate attention. You travel to the school, but upon arrival, everything seems abandoned, and soon enough you find yourself being hunted down by a psychopathic nun wanting nothing but to see you dead. I don't think Nun Massacre to me will never not be just terrifying. I don't know what it is about this game, but it just puts a fear in me that I've never felt with another horror game. If you're looking to give yourself a heart attack, I strongly recommend this game. Recently, Puppet Combo has created their very own publishing company known as Torture Star Video. Some of their most recent games they've published are Bloodwash, Deadly Night, and Night at the Gates of Hell, with Bloodwash also getting a console release. Now that we know a little bit about Puppet Combo and what their games are like, I think it's about time that we enter the nightmare that is Stay Out of the House. Stay Out of the House got its first prototype on April 30th, 2018 on Puppet Combo's Patreon. From there, people supporting the Patreon have gotten updates and early builds of the game throughout the years leading up to its full release. After years of waiting and a few delays later, the game got its full release on Steam on October 13th, 2022 to very positive reviews. There are 4 levels or parts to the game, with them being Nightshift, Prologue, the House, and the Bunker. With Nightshift being released on Puppet Combo's Patreon way back in 2018 as sort of a teaser for what was to come in the full game. Now that that's out of the way, really the only thing left to do is jump into the first part of the game, with that being the Nightshift. We start the game off as our main character for now, Deborah, being voiced by the Sphere Hunter herself, Susie, who's an amazing YouTuber, and I highly recommend you go check her out. We get dropped off at our night shift by our friend Amber, who's honestly kind of a dick.
What time are you getting out? 6? Want me to pick you up?
Yeah, it's too far to walk.
As if. I'll be conked out by then. I'll have a beer for you later. Have fun.
We make our way into the gas station where we'll be spending the rest of our night. Once we make it in, we're quickly greeted by our coworker Katz, who tells us to hurry up and clock in already. He mentions that the bathrooms are locked and that the phone line is on the fritz. I'm sure none of that will have any significance later in the night. We clock ourselves into work, Katz leaves us, and we start our night shift. Behind the counter, there's a note explaining to us what our duties are for the night, and we get to work. We quickly restock the shelves and slowly start sweeping up the floors. While playing on the arcade cabinet, we notice our first customer pulls up. He comes in and simply asks for gas on pump 5 and leaves. The night dies down a bit after that, so we go on our phone to watch funny Minecraft Breaking Bad memes when we notice something out of the corner of our eye. Alright, maybe they thought they needed gas and then remembered that they didn't. That's not suspicious at all. Not before long, another car pulls up and the customer comes in asking for cigarettes and to use the bathroom. We give them the cigarettes and tell them that the bathrooms are locked. They leave and we're once again alone. While waiting for more customers to come, the white van drives by once again. Now being fully paranoid, we decide to sit and wait in our little safety basket. But not even the safety basket can prepare us for what we're about to be subjected to. While waiting in the basket, we see a man walk up to the gas station. No car, no anything, he just kind of appears. And when he enters the store, he asks a truly chilling question.
Hi, you here all alone?
What the fuck? We do the only logical thing here and tell him, no, we have a coworker in the back. The man proceeds to walk around the store while every once in a while glancing back at us. He eventually purchases some beer and leaves, walking off into the distance. With every red flag being shown, we think to call the police, but remember, the phones aren't working. To try and calm our nerves, we decide to play on the arcade game. We get a game over, so we start to walk back to the counter when we hear a horrifying noise. The sound of a door opening halts us dead in our tracks. With nothing else we can do, we go check out what happened. We see that the back door that was once locked shut is now wide open. We decide to go further to see if anything or anyone is out there, when we soon find out that the bathrooms are now open as well. Going inside the bathrooms, we find absolutely nothing. Maybe this was just a prank, right? We start the prologue now as the character Roxanne, being voiced by Autumn Ivy. Here's her Twitter, check her out, she's cool. We wake up in a car while our boyfriend, Brendan, is driving us on a road trip. Soon enough, Brendan stops to use the bathroom and we quickly fall back to sleep. Presumably a couple hours pass by and we wake up, but now Brendan is still nowhere to be seen. He must really not be having a good time in there. Like a good girlfriend does, we go to check up on our constipated boyfriend, and still nothing. Looking around a little bit further leads us to a back doorway where we find Brendan's driver's license. We seem to have found ourselves wandering an abandoned millhouse place, or whatever they're called, with still no luck of Brandon. Brendan? What's his name? What the hell? Is that a dog? Oh my god, a dog! We have a dog now, and I've named him Harold. Anyway, moving on, we eventually come across a spooky wheat maze of sorts. One path in the maze brings us to an abandoned church with a note that gives us some cool lore that I can't be bothered to read. The other path has the dog leading us to an abandoned van with belongings scattered all over the floor. Before we leave this little area, we make sure Harold knows that he's loved by giving him the classic hook finger pet, which is a completely normal way to pet your dog, might I add. With there being only one more path, we go off to explore, and it leads us to a very familiar looking house. I don't know why, but something's telling me that we should really try and stay out of the house. Disregarding everything that I just said, we go a little bit closer to the house, and Harold starts growling at seemingly nothing. Out of nowhere, Harold runs in, and soon afterwards, we chase after him. Now in the house, we can see that this place is a complete mess. This really does not look like a place we want to be in, but we gotta get our dog. Oh, and I guess we're kind of looking for Brendan too, but who cares about him? We head down to the basement and we see our poor Harold in a bear trap. We set him free, and when we go upstairs, we get the hell out of... God damn it. The doors are locked. With nothing else to do, we try and head upstairs, but are almost instantly stopped dead in our tracks. Starting the house portion of the game, we wake up and find ourselves trapped inside of a cage and can immediately tell that there is something terribly wrong with us. Looking around the room, we see that there is a TV repeating a strange religious video that seems to be physically hurting us while looking at it. We find a small hole that lets us escape our confinement, we find a lighter, and we're off to explore. This is where I'd say that the game truly begins. From this point onward, the game adopts the stealth horror style of gameplay, solving puzzles, running from the killer, item management, all that good stuff. Further exploring, we find out that we are limited to a very small portion of the house, only being able to go in 4 rooms, but that quickly changes when we do some reading, find a code, and acquire our trusty screwdriver. Speaking of reading, we come across a note talking about the so-called Nightshift abductor. The report depicts the events we've experienced as Deborah way back when we played the Nightshift. We use our screwdriver to open up the only way that we can go. It leads us to the vent system, which will become very important as it'll give us a safe way to traverse the house. Which is actually not true. There's a baby that can come and like murder you in there, but I've only seen him in my recent playthrough. I've been playing this game since it came out, and this is the first time seeing him actually work. So, yeah, I don't know. And there's like gas that the butcher can also turn on that like hurts you over time. So, just disregard me even saying it's safe. Regardless, that's not the only importance of the vents, but this is also where our save room is. We can use this cozy little spot to store valuable items and save the game, of course. Back to exploring the vents, we come across the Nightshift abductor, or like I just said before, the butcher, chopping up human remains. Going a little bit further, we can now drop down from the vents, and we're free to explore a good chunk of the house now. As you might have saw when we played the prologue, we not only have to deal with the butcher, but his horrid grandmother that will scream and alert him to our position if she sees us. First thing we go do is unlock this vent system that will come in handy a little bit later. Next, we take ourselves upstairs to soon find the hammer that we can then use to take the boards off of the store. In this new room, we find a revolver and a dead body. The revolver is very useful in this game. If the butcher spots you, you can shoot him a few times, causing him to fuck off for a little bit, giving you some time to freely explore the house. We can also kill the grandma, which is very helpful. Going through this secret little tunnel, we find a few very useful items, such as the drain cleaner and a battery that we can use for later. For right now, all we need is the drain cleaner, which we can use on this clogged sink. We then head to the basement to see whatever was clogging it, with that being a hex key. With the hex key, we can now pick certain locks that are around the house to nab some things that will make our life much easier, like bandages, bullets, and a flashlight. Skipping over a step that I forgot to write into the script, we eventually come across the wire cutters. With these, we can now deactivate a fan that was in the vents that was blocking our way to a new area. Crawling past the fan, we start to hear a familiar voice.
Hey, haha, very funny. Let me out of here.
It's Brendan! Remember, our boyfriend? I'm not even gonna lie, I thought he was dead, but now that we know he's still alive, there might actually be a chance that we can save him. God damn, well, I guess not. Moving on. We drop down from the vents and we're in a new part of the house now. In one of the new rooms, we quickly find a backpack that now lets us hold 8 items instead of 5. Thank you so much, game. Next, we find 2 very familiar looking puzzles. If you've ever played or seen Nun Massacre, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. What we need to do for these puzzles is first put 7 amount of severed body parts on this scale to make it explode out a cog, which we can then put in this clock, so that way we can turn it to the right time, and then it opens up a wall. That makes sense. We now have another new part of the house to explore. The only thing worth mentioning in this new area is that there's a room with a broken wire that we're going to eventually need to come back to. Moving forward into whatever this room is, we find another vent system, and this one leads us to the outside, but unfortunately, we're not out of here yet. Things worth mentioning out here is that, holy shit, there's actual people. These are some of the butcher's victims. If you manage to safely get them back to the save room, they'll give you some useful tips, lore, and some helpful items, like heals and whatnot. Outside, there's also a pressure valve and some tape, which can be used for the broken wire that I told you about earlier. Heading back inside and fixing the wire, it turns on a fan that drops us a battery. Now that we have 2 out of the 3 batteries, I feel like I should probably explain what they do. In the kitchen, there's a can that we can find with something in it, and the only way to open it is using the can opener, but we need 3 batteries for it. So, alright, great, we have 2 out of the 3 batteries. Where's the third one? I'm not even gonna lie, this actually took me so long to find. I didn't even find it. I looked it up. I thought it would be like hidden around the house somewhere, which I guess it is. It's in a smoke detector. I didn't even know there was a smoke detector in this game. It's above this table, and it was in the easiest spot ever. Who cares? Let's just move on. Anyway, now that we have all 3 batteries, what's in the can? It's the key to the front door! Holy fuck! We finally made it out, but it's still not really the end. We have just a little bit more to go. Every other path is either blocked off or just locked, so going down the only way that we can, this happens. In a scene very reminiscent of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, we're chased down by a chainsaw-wielding butcher. Having only one thing to do, we run as fast as Puppet Combo lets us, and we eventually reach a trailer park.
Help me! Is anyone home?
Hello.
He's gonna kill me!
Do you want to come inside? Do you want to come inside?
I'm sick. Help me.
What's wrong?
That's it?
So, what the fuck just happened? If we go back to the beginning of the house part of the game, Roxanne mentions that her stomach doesn't feel right, and this happens 2 more times during the game, each time getting dizzier and dizzier. From the achievement we get after getting this ending, we can assume that the butcher put a parasite inside of us. We don't really know what happens after this, but I assume we die. And that's pretty much it. That's the end. Or is it? What if I told you that there were multiple endings to this game, and it could maybe turn out better for Roxanne? Remember that wheel that I mentioned and literally nothing came of it? Well, using the wheel down in the basement opens up a path for us to restore power to this door, and once we get it open, it leads us to the bunker. Okay, so this game is way bigger than I could have ever imagined. My first time getting down here, I was genuinely so surprised that this level was as big as it is. It's basically just another house, when I thought it was going to be more like the Prologue, where there isn't really much to do, you kind of just get to the end and then have a different ending. But no, that's not the case at all. There is a lot to do down here, and I'm going to be so honest with you, I barely know how to do any of it. I think it might be because I don't really read anything. Either that or I could just be stupid. So instead of me showing you everything to do down in the bunker, I'm going to be showing you the quote-unquote speedrunner route of how to get the ending. There's actually 2 different endings to get down here, with one being the mother ending and the other being the rebirth ending. We're going to be mainly focusing on the mother ending since I feel it's the most substantial out of the 2 of them. So yeah, with that all being said, let's just beat this game already, please. Alright, so first things first, we take our screwdriver and unscrew this grate off the wall, which opens up another vent system for us, which we can then use to get into the security room. I believe this room is pretty important if you're wanting to do this the normal way, but for us, all we need is the key that gets us into the pump room. After doing some more unscrewing, we can take a swim into the downstairs of the bunker. For right now, all we need to do is unclog these drains, so that way when we head back up to the pump room, we can drain the downstairs of its water. Before we can go back downstairs to explore, it's important for us to get a few more items upstairs. First, we go get these bolt cutters, and I guess while we're in this room, we should probably see what this dying man wants from us.
Don't worry. I'll get you out.
It's too late.
Don't say that.
You have to stop the demon downstairs. You have to destroy this entire facility.
What are you talking about?
Just listen. I am out of time. Shut down the reactor. It'll cause a meltdown, but it'll kill that thing and wipe this evil place off the planet. understand everything soon. There are 2 shutdown keys somewhere. You can get the code.
Cool, thanks, dude. Anyway, we take his gun because, like in the house, it is a very useful item to have. If anything, I feel like it's more useful to have down here, but we'll see why in a minute. Last thing we gotta do before heading downstairs is use the bolt cutters to let this cool little cow free, but more importantly, we can go behind him and get one of the detonator keys the guy was talking about. Now that we have everything that we need from upstairs, we can head back down a floor to use the gun that we just got to blow the lock off of this briefcase. Don't ask me how to actually open it because I have no idea what the code is. But anyway, we now have the final detonator key that we need. We blow the doorknobs off of a few more doors and we eventually come across the detonator room. With the 2 keys that we just got, we put them into place and we use the codes. Don't ask me how I know them because again, I literally have no idea, and the meltdown starts. In the room where the dying guy was, there was an emergency exit, so we rush back there to make our escape. Getting there, we find that the exit is blocked by some beams that got knocked down due to the meltdown being started. We can remove them, but it takes a few good seconds. And that wouldn't really be an issue, but out of nowhere, the butcher comes out revving his chainsaw like the maniac he f***ing is. After some time, we are able to get enough beams out of the way to squeeze into the exit, and we're finally free. The screen turns to white, yet we're still not done. We wake up from a coma in our hospital bed. The doctor explains that they don't know who we are, but we should get back up on our feet in a few days or so, and we should just get some rest. It now being nighttime, we wake up again, but we're in a lot of discomfort now. Not really knowing what's happening for a minute or two, we remember that there is still a parasite inside of us. Waking up again, we now see that the sky outside is completely red. Getting up from our bed, we can now explore a little bit of the hospital. Walking past some of the rooms, we see whatever came out of us is seemingly taking over the rest of the patients. Exploring further, we find the front entrance filled with what looks to possibly be eggs from whatever we spit out earlier. Not really having anything else we can do, we walk to the front doors and we leave. So I was originally going to get a clip of Billy Mays saying, "But wait, there's more." But then really interestingly, he actually never said that. So that's really weird. But like I said, there is actually more. So the last ending that we need to get is the rebirth ending, and this one is pretty easy to get. All we need to do is get to the detonator room, and it's pretty much just smooth sailing from there. If we head up these stairs, and instead of going into the place where we put the detonator key, and keep going, we find a red door, and from here, there is a lot to be explored. But for us, we're only down here for this.
We often stumble in our search to find ourselves. Now, you've taken the first step, the crucial step. You began on a path of purpose. You can, of course, be met with the fear that can come with these expectations created. Fear is just a momentary lapse in faith. And no one is so that they can escape that. How you hope is so much greater.
And with that ending out of the way, we are finally done with Stay Out of the House. Holy shit. This video took so long to make, but damn does it feel good to finally be at the end. Stay Out of the House has been such an amazing horror game to experience and to make this video on too, even though, like I said, it took so long to make. I really did enjoy everything this game had to offer. From the Nightshift all the way to the bunker, it had me spooked and on the edge of my seat wanting to play more. A lot of the bugs that I first encountered when playing this game have been updated out of the game to make it a much smoother experience. Not only have they been bug fixing, but they actually added 2 new modes for the game, with them being Explore, which takes out all the enemies in the game. This came in very handy when I had to record the bunker, and the hard mode, which adds new mechanics you have to manage, such as hunger, thirst, and bleeding. I think I tried playing this like once or twice and got annihilated instantly, and I haven't went back to it, so... But I will say that I think that these 2 new modes are a very welcome addition to the game for those who just want, more to do in the game. There was so much stuff that I didn't even show in this video. Like, especially in the bunker, there is so much shit to do that I did not show. And thank God I was able to blow the locks off of doors and shit, because without being able to do that, I don't know if I would have finished this game completely. But yeah, other than that, that's pretty much it. I wish I had more to say about the endings, but I literally don't even know what to say about them. I really cannot recommend this game enough. If this is your first time hearing or seeing about Puppet Combo or Stay Out of the House, or maybe it's not and you just haven't checked it out, please, I promise you, you will not be disappointed. Recently, Puppet Combo has actually put out a new horror game. I don't think it really has a name, it's just kind of called Photography Horror Game. But it looks really cool. Maybe I'll check that out next. And last thing before we end the video, I just want to say thank you to everyone who's supported me throughout the making of this video. You guys know who you are, but if it weren't for all of my friends and everything, I definitely would have lost motivation and stopped doing this very quickly. But no, thank you guys. And thank you to everyone who's watching. Holy shit. If you've gotten this far in the video, really thank you. I really appreciate it. I know this might not be the best or cohesive video essay out there, but if you really have gotten this far, I really thank you for taking time out your day and watching this video. So thank you. So with all that being said, I love Stay Out of the House. Go check it out. Thank you. And yeah, that's the end. I don't know how to end this, so that's the end. Also, Puppet Combo, hit me up. I would love to do a voice in your game. Alright, guys. Thanks for coming over and watching Cocomelon with me.
Yeah,
Really
I had a good time.
Yeah.
Anytime, man. Honestly, I could come here tomorrow too.
Really? I mean, they got an episode coming out then.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, dude.
Alright. Got you then.
Alright. Bye, guys.